Very urgent. Your soulmate needs to explain what happened last night. The message arrived at an impossible hour. Not midnight. Not dawn. It appeared during that strange stretch of darkness when the world feels suspended between yesterday and tomorrow, when silence becomes so complete that even your own heartbeat sounds unfamiliar. There were only 7 words. Please don't ignore me. I have to explain. No emojis. No dramatic punctuation. Just quiet urgency. Something about those words felt heavier than fear. They carried the weight of someone who had spent hours searching for the right sentence and still believed every word was inadequate. You stared at the screen. Who was this? Why did your chest suddenly tighten, as if a memory you had never lived was trying to return? Miles away, another person was sitting on the floor of a dim apartment, unable to sleep. Their hands trembled. A cup of tea had gone cold beside them. The television had been playing the same muted news channel for nearly 3 hours, though they hadn't heard a single headline. Their thoughts kept returning to one night. Last night. Everything had changed in the space of a few minutes. Not because of a disaster. Not because of an accident. But because of a single discovery. Earlier that evening, they had been living an ordinary life. Work had ended late. Rain had painted silver rivers across the streets. People hurried home beneath umbrellas. Nothing hinted that destiny had quietly rearranged itself. They almost didn't stop at the old bookstore tucked between 2 forgotten buildings. The shop wasn't on their usual route. In fact, they had never noticed it before. A faded wooden sign creaked above the entrance. The owner smiled as though expecting someone. "Take your time," the elderly man said softly. "I think you've come for something important." Those words seemed odd. Still, curiosity led them deeper inside. Dust floated through warm beams of golden light. Thousands of books lined shelves from floor to ceiling. Some looked centuries old. Others appeared untouched. One book rested alone on a small table. No price. No title. Just worn leather. As they reached toward it, the shop owner quietly whispered, "Be careful. Some stories don't simply tell the future. Some stories remember it." The moment the book opened, everything changed. Its pages were blank. At first. Then words slowly appeared, one line after another, as though invisible ink had awakened. The first sentence froze them completely. The person reading this has already met the soul they have been searching for. Their breathing slowed. Coincidence? It had to be. Then another sentence formed. You haven't recognized them yet because timing has protected both of you. More words followed. Descriptions. Not names. Not addresses. But details. A smile. A habit. A favorite season. The way someone looked at sunsets instead of taking photographs. Every description painted the image of someone they had never consciously met. And yet somehow already missed. Then came the final paragraph. It didn't describe love. It described danger. Last night someone tried to prevent this meeting forever. Their hands began shaking. Prevent? How? Why? Before they could read further, the lights inside the bookstore flickered. Every shelf groaned. Wind rushed through the building although every window remained closed. When the lights stabilized, the pages were blank again. The shop owner was gone. So was the front counter. The entire room had changed. It felt abandoned. Empty. As though no bookstore had existed there for years. Heart pounding, they stumbled outside. Rain had stopped. Across the street stood an old woman feeding birds. Gathering courage, they asked, "Excuse me, where did the bookstore go?" She frowned. "What bookstore?" "The one right there." She looked genuinely confused. "That building has been empty for 15 years. Their pulse quickened. Impossible. They had just been inside. They could still smell old paper on their clothes. Inside their pocket, they found something. A folded note. Handwritten. Only one sentence. "Find them before someone else reaches them first." For the first time in years, they felt afraid. Not for themselves. For someone they hadn't even met. Or perhaps someone they had forgotten. That fear followed them home. Every clock seemed louder. Every shadow looked unfamiliar. Then strange things began happening. Streetlights blinked off as they passed. A framed photograph fell from the wall without explanation. Their phone repeatedly searched for a contact that didn't exist. One notification appeared. Disappeared. Then appeared again. No sender. Just 5 words. "They are closer than ever." Sleep became impossible. Questions circled endlessly. Who was they? Who wanted to stop this meeting? Why did every strange event begin after opening that mysterious book? Then something happened just before sunrise. A dream unlike any other. Not blurry. Not symbolic. Perfectly clear. They stood inside a quiet train station wrapped in morning mist. People walked past without faces. Time itself seemed frozen. At the opposite end of the platform stood one person. You. Not speaking. Simply waiting. As though you'd been there for years. They tried to walk toward you. One step. Then another. But with every step, the distance grew instead of shrinking. Someone unseen whispered. "Hurry. There isn't much time." Then a loud crash echoed through the station. Everything shattered like glass. They woke up gasping for air. Their pillow was soaked with tears they didn't remember crying. The first thing they did wasn't make coffee. Wasn't call a friend. Wasn't search the internet. Instead, they opened their phone and wrote 7 simple words. "Please don't ignore me. I have to explain." They didn't know your name. They didn't know your face beyond the dream. But somehow, their heart believed the message would eventually find exactly the person it was meant for. And somewhere, without understanding why, you suddenly felt the urge to check your phone. The moment your fingers hovered over the mysterious message, something unusual happened. The screen flickered. Not because of a weak signal. Not because your phone was broken. For the briefest instant, the message seemed to change. Instead of reading, "Please don't ignore me. I have to explain," it displayed a different sentence. "I almost lost the chance to find you." Before you could read it again, the words returned to normal. You blinked, wondering if your tired eyes had imagined everything. Yet a strange feeling settled in your chest, a quiet certainty that this message was connected to something much larger than coincidence. Across the city, your soulmate had not slept. The notebook they carried everywhere lay open on the table. During the night, they had begun writing every strange detail they could remember. The mysterious bookstore. The blank pages. The disappearing building. The handwritten note. The dream of the silent train station. But something else had happened after they woke. A photograph had appeared inside the notebook. It wasn't glued there. It wasn't tucked between the pages. It simply rested on the paper as though it had always belonged. The photograph showed an old stone bridge stretching over calm water. On the back, in elegant handwriting, were 6 words. "Everything begins where rivers remember promises." They stared at it for several minutes. They had never seen the bridge before. Yet it felt oddly familiar. Later that morning, they searched online for the bridge. Hundreds of images appeared. None matched the photograph. Hours passed. Just as they were ready to give up, an elderly librarian noticed the picture. She smiled gently. "I've seen this place." Their heartbeat quickened. "Where is it?" The librarian hesitated. "People don't usually ask about that bridge." "It's important." She nodded slowly. "It's called the Whisper Bridge. Most travelers pass it without noticing. But every so often, someone comes looking for it because of a dream." "A dream?" "Yes." She lowered her voice. "They always say someone was waiting for them. Meanwhile, you tried to continue your ordinary day. You answered messages. Finished routine tasks. Spoke with people around you. But your thoughts kept drifting back to the mysterious text. Every few hours, you looked at your phone. No new messages. No explanation. Only silence. Yet the silence somehow felt louder than words. That evening, your soulmate decided to visit the bridge. Clouds covered the sky. A cool breeze carried the scent of rain. The old bridge stood exactly as the photograph had shown. Weathered stones. Iron railings. Quiet water flowing beneath. No crowds. No tourists. Only stillness. As they stepped onto the bridge, they noticed something carved into the center stone. It wasn't a name. It wasn't a date. It was a single sentence. Some hearts meet long before their lives do. Their breath caught. Suddenly, footsteps echoed behind them. They turned. No one was there. Yet another voice whispered softly through the wind. "You're close." The sky darkened unexpectedly. A folded letter slid across the bridge as though carried by an invisible hand. There was no envelope. No address. Only one word written on the front. "Read." Hands trembling, they unfolded it. Inside was a short message. "If you are reading this, you already know that last night changed everything. Someone tried to convince you to stop searching. They wanted fear to become stronger than hope. Do not let them succeed. The person you seek is also searching, even if they don't realize it yet." The letter ended with a final line. "Trust the next sign." The moment they finished reading, a gust of wind swept across the bridge. The letter slipped from their fingers. Instead of falling into the river, it vanished. As though it had never existed. At almost the same moment, your phone vibrated. A second message appeared. Only 4 words. "Please believe me." No explanation. No name. But this time, for reasons you couldn't explain, you didn't feel afraid. You felt connected. As though somewhere, someone was fighting through impossible circumstances just to reach you. And without realizing it, you whispered into the quiet room. "I'm listening." Far away, standing alone on the ancient bridge, your soulmate suddenly smiled. For the first time since the mysterious events began. They no longer felt alone. The words, "I'm listening," had barely left your lips when the room became strangely quiet. Not the ordinary silence of an empty home. A deeper silence. The kind that makes time itself seem to slow down. Your phone vibrated once more. This time, there was no text message. Instead, an audio file appeared without a sender's name. The title read only, "Last night, please hear me out." You hesitated. Your finger hovered above the play button. Finally, you pressed it. For a few seconds, there was only static. Then came a calm, trembling voice. "I don't know if you'll ever hear this, but if you do, please don't think I disappeared because I wanted to. Last night, I discovered something that changed everything I believed about fate." The recording suddenly cut off. No explanation. No ending. Just silence. Across the city, your soulmate stared at the river beneath Whisper Bridge. The water, perfectly still moments before, now rippled in perfect circles. As if raindrops were falling. But the sky remained clear. In the center of the bridge, something caught their attention. A tiny silver key. It hadn't been there a moment ago. Attached to it was a small tag with handwritten words. "The answers are locked away. Only trust can open them." They picked it up carefully. It felt warm, almost as if someone had been holding it moments earlier. That evening, they returned home and searched every corner of the apartment. Nothing matched the key. Just as they were about to give up, they noticed an old wooden box on the highest shelf of the closet. They were certain they had never owned it. The silver key fit perfectly. Inside was a bundle of letters tied together with faded blue ribbon. None of the envelopes had stamps. None had addresses. Every letter began exactly the same way. To the two hearts who have not yet met. Their hands trembled as they unfolded the first page. The writing seemed years old. You will both question what is happening. You will wonder if these signs are dreams or coincidence. They are neither. Every choice made with kindness brings your paths closer. Every choice made from fear pushes the meeting further away. Another page slipped free. Last night, someone tried to convince one of you to stop believing. That moment almost changed the future forever. Your soulmate's heart raced. Who had written these letters? And how had they known what happened? Meanwhile, you couldn't stop thinking about the unfinished recording. Something inside you insisted there was more to hear. You reopened the file. Again, it stopped after the same sentence. Frustrated, you placed the phone on the table. Just then, the screen lit up on its own. A second audio file appeared beneath the first. Its title read, "Don't Give Up Yet." You pressed play immediately. The same voice returned. "I remembered something while I was standing on the bridge. I wasn't searching for you because of the book. I started searching long before that. I just didn't know who I was searching for." A deep breath echoed through the speaker. "Last night, someone offered me an easier path. They said if I forgot about you, everything strange would disappear. The fear. The unanswered questions. The loneliness." The voice grew steadier. "I said no." Static interrupted again. But before the recording ended, one final sentence came through clearly. "No matter how long it takes, I'll keep choosing you." Those words stayed with you. You had never met this person. You didn't know their name. Yet somehow, their promise felt real. Outside your window, a gentle breeze stirred the trees. For the first time in days, the heaviness in your heart began to lift. Elsewhere, your soulmate folded the mysterious letters and looked toward the night sky. Above them, one bright star emerged between the clouds. Then another. And another. In that quiet moment, they realized something that changed everything. The journey wasn't about solving a mystery anymore. It was about becoming the kind of person who would recognize true love when it finally arrived. And somewhere, although neither of you knew when or where, your paths had already begun moving toward the same destination. Morning arrived quietly, but neither of you felt rested. The night had left behind more than unanswered questions. It had left behind certainty. Not certainty about who the other person was, but certainty that the connection was real. Your phone remained silent all morning. No new messages. No mysterious recordings. No strange notifications. The silence almost felt disappointing. After everything that had happened, ordinary life suddenly seemed too ordinary. Yet, deep inside, you sensed that something was still unfolding. Across town, your soulmate carefully unfolded the second letter from the wooden box. Unlike the first, this page was written in darker ink. The handwriting looked hurried, almost desperate. It began with a warning. If you are reading this, it means you refuse to let fear decide your future. That choice has protected a meeting that was nearly erased. Your soulmate's heart pounded. They continued reading. You may believe last night was only about strange dreams and impossible events. It was not. Last night revealed the kind of person you would become when everything familiar disappeared. The final paragraph was even more mysterious. The next clue is hidden where time no longer works the way people expect. There was no signature. Only a small drawing of an old clock with both hands pointing to midnight. The drawing reminded them of something. At the edge of the city stood an abandoned railway station. The station clock had been frozen at exactly 12 o'clock for decades. People rarely visited it anymore. Some believed it was simply forgotten. Others claimed it held memories that refused to fade. Without hesitation, your soulmate decided to go there. Meanwhile, your day took an unexpected turn. While cleaning a bookshelf, an old envelope slipped from between two books. You didn't remember placing it there. There was no address. No stamp. Only your initials written neatly on the front. You opened it slowly. Inside was a single piece of paper. It contained only one sentence. Sometimes two strangers begin missing each other long before they ever meet. You read it again. And again. For reasons you couldn't explain, tears gathered in your eyes. The words felt deeply personal, as if they had been waiting years to be found. By late afternoon, your soulmate reached the abandoned railway station. The platform was empty. The rail stretched into the distance, disappearing beneath a soft layer of mist. Above the entrance, the old clock still pointed to midnight. Exactly as the letter had drawn it. As they stepped onto the platform, a distant train whistle echoed. But there were no trains. Only silence. Then, on one of the wooden benches, they noticed a small leather journal. Its cover carried the same symbol that had appeared inside the mysterious bookstore. With trembling hands, they opened it. The first page read: Every great love story reaches a moment when one person believes they are too late. The second page had only one line. You are not too late. As they turned another page, something unexpected slipped out. A faded train ticket. No destination. No passenger name. Just a departure time. 11:11 p.m. On the back, written in silver ink, were 6 words. The truth arrives with the final train. At that exact moment, your phone vibrated once. A new message appeared. No sender. No number. Just one question. If someone fought through impossible circumstances just to reach you, would you wait for them? You stared at the screen. Your heart beat faster than it had all week. Without overthinking, you typed your reply. Yes. The message disappeared instantly. No sent confirmation. No chat history. It simply vanished. But hundreds of miles away, standing alone on the forgotten railway platform, your soulmate's phone lit up for the first time all day. Only one word appeared on the screen. Hope.